Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we'll start. Okay, regulation of gene expression. In our earlier classes, we studied about replication, transcription, and now in our today's class, we'll discuss how gene is regulated and how different types of proteins are produced, whereas other types of proteins, that means other types of genes, are already in the inactive stage. How and those corresponding proteins, we know that if we talk about it consists of billions and trillions, and how the cells contains the same chromosomes, and the same gene is present in all the cells. However, we have different differentiation of cells. Just like we have the cells of the thyroid, we have the cells of the pancreas, we have the cells of this organ, that organ. All the cells are containing the same set of 23 pair of and same gene is present in all the cells. In some cells, some type of gene is active with the production of specific protein, whereas in the other types of cell, other genes are active. In this class, we'll try to understand how this is possible and what causes the regulation of gene and how the genes are regulated. Some genes are expressed, whereas other genes are not expressed. We'll discuss this under regulation of gene expression. Sorry. We all know that gene is the functional unit of DNA, and a genome is a complete set of genes in a given species. That means genome is the complete set of genes. And we also know that the gene expression is a multi-step process that results in the production of functional gene product. That is, in most of the cases, functional gene product means protein with the exception of tRNA and rRNA, which themselves are functional. That means gene expression is a multi-step process from DNA to RNA and RNA to protein. And in that process is also there are a large number of steps as you have seen. That means such steps, such all steps has to be passed for the gene to be expressed. Now, prokaryotes and eukaryotes alter in gene expression in response to their changing environment. Only the complex cellular organization as of eukaryotes, but also the prokaryotes. Both of them can alter the gene expression in response to their changing environment. In multicellular eukaryotes, gene expression regulates the development and it also responsible for the differences in cell types. For example, muscle cells and neurons. Because both the cells contain the same type of genome, whereas some type of genes are active in the muscle cell, whereas other types of genes are active in the neuron cells. All cells contain the same chromosomes and therefore the same genome. However, each cell type can express the same or different genes. That means, though all the genes are present in all the cells, is all the cells contain the same genome. However, only particular type of genes are expressed in particular types of cells, tissues, and organs. Let's see an example. A mature muscle cell may turn on a gene that is never turned on in a mature neuron. That means some sort of genes will be active in the neuron, whereas other types of genes will be active in other types of cell. A mature muscle cell may turn on a gene that is never turned on a mature neuron. Some genes are expressed only during embryonic development and are never expressed later in the organism life cycle. If we talk about the type of hemoglobin, there are different fetal hemoglobin. Fetal hemoglobin is expressed in the fetal life, whereas the fetal hemoglobin expressed to a very little extent in case of adults. Why to regulate the gene expression? This is the difficult question. Why to regulate the gene expression? Gene has to be regulation has to be expressed because all our cells contains the same genome different functions. That's why regulated gene expression, development, and also differentiation. Let's see negative regulation and positive regulation. There can be both type of regulation. Negative regulation is by negative regulator known as the repressor, and the positive regulation is by positive regulator known as the activator. Positive regulation by activator and negative regulator repressor. Okay, let's see this table. The rate of gene X. Sorry. The rate of gene expression. Okay. What would be the rate of gene expression? For example, if the regulator is present, if the regulator is present, and the rate of gene expression in case of negative regulation would be, if the regulator is present in case of positive regulation, that would be increased, whereas the opposite would be the case in case of that. Just a simple thing, just update it. Some genes demonstrate higher expression level once being activated. It is called induced expression. On the other hand, some genes are repressed and their expression levels are lower. This is called repressed expression. That means the activators would induce or the inducer, whereas the repressor will repress. Specificity of gene expression. Gene expression can be temporal specificity or spatial specificity. Temporal specificity explains why not in infant and the aged ones. That means temporal specificity explains the age-specific specificity. Why some genes are active only in the infant, just like the genes producing the whereas others are active the other during our life cycle. Now specificity. Why not in liver and that means tissue specificity. Specificity of gene expression can be temporal specificity in the different stages of our life or special specificity that is in some organs but not in the other. Now classification of gene with respect to their expression. This can be constitutive or housekeeping genes. We are classifying the genes with respect to their expression, and it includes the constitutive or housekeeping genes. And the next are the controllable or inducible genes. Sorry. Classification of genes with respect to their expression can be of two types. One is the constitutive or housekeeping genes, which are the controllable or inducible genes, which have to be induced. We'll see. Okay, constitutive genes, constitutive or housekeeping genes. These are expressed at a fixed rate irrespective of the cell condition. These are known as the constitutive or the housekeeping genes, which are expressed at a fixed rate irrespective of the cell condition. And they are essential and necessary for life and therefore are continuously expressed, such as those enzymes involved in TCA cycle. This TCA cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle or Krebs cycle, this is the central metabolic pathway for carbohydrate, lipid, protein, whatsoever. This is the central metabolic pathway. That's why it has to be activated all the times. That's why the genes which are involved in the formation of proteins for the TCA cycle will be always active. So genes are known as constitutive genes or housekeeping genes. These are expressed at a fixed rate irrespective to the cellular condition. And their structure is relatively simple. We have classified the gene with respect to their expression into two types. One is the constitutive or the housekeeping genes, which are continually active, and next are the controllable or inducible genes. Controllable or inducible gene They are expressed only when needed. The amount may increase or decrease with respect to their basal level in different conditions, and their structure is relatively complicated with some response elements. Classification of gene with respect to their expression, we classified into two types. One is the constitutive or the housekeeping genes, and the next one, the controllable or inducible genes. Constitutive or housekeeping genes, they are expressed at a fixed rate. They are essential and necessary for life. They are required almost all the time, whereas the controllable or inducible genes are induced whenever. Now let's see the regulation of gene expression. Gene expression is a multi-level process from DNA to RNA and RNA to protein. And in the case of DNA to RNA, that is transcription. There is post-transcriptional modification, and in the case of translation also we had post-translational modification. However, transcription initiation is the key point of controlling gene expression. Most of the times it is transcription initiation. However, at other levels also they are regulated, but most of the times it is at the level of transcription initiation that they are regulated. And if we talk about the basic elements that regulate the transcription, they include special DNA sequences, regulatory proteins, and there are DNA protein interaction as well as protein protein interaction, and also the case of RNA polymerase. These are the basic elements that regulate the transcription. Special DNA sequence, regulatory protein, DNA and protein interaction, as well as protein protein interaction, and RNA polymerase. These are the basic elements that regulate the transcription. Okay, let's see the special DNA sequences. What are the special DNA sequences? We have seen about the different DNA sequences in prokaryotic and eukaryotic during transcription and translation. Here with most example of prokaryotic case, let's see the concept of operon. Operon is a coordinated unit of genetic expression, and this operon is composed of structural genes, promoter genes, operator genes, and other regulatory sequences. That means operon is the coordinated unit of genetic expression, and they are composed of structural genes along with promoter, operator, and other regulatory sequences. Let's see. Okay, now this is one operon. One operon is a coordinated unit of genetic expression, and it consists of the structural gene, promoter, operator, and other regulatory sequences. And these regulatory sequences, promoter and operator, which are just near to the structural genes, they are known as cis-acting elements. Okay, we said that operon is a coordinated unit of genetic expression, and this operon consists of structural, promoter, operator, and other regulatory sequences. Now let's see what promoter is. Promoter is a DNA sequence where RNA polymerase can bind to and initiate the transcription. And while studying the transcription also, we have already seen the promoter sequence, the transcription. Promoter sequence is two types of promoter, prokaryotic case and eukaryotic case. We will studying data box, -35 sequence, cat box. Promoter, the DNA sequence that RNA polymerase can bind to and initiate the transcription, they are the promoter. An operator, the DNA sequence adjacent to the structural gene that the repressor protein can bind to and prevent the transcription of structural genes. They are the operator. That means we are talking about the promoter, the sequence that RNA polymerase can bind and initiate the transcription, and operator is the sequence the repressor protein will bind. the DNA sequence adjacent to the structural genes that the replication can bind. We talked promoter and also a promoter of it here in the operator sequence, the repressor protein will come and bind. And after the repressor comes and bind here, even though the promoter RNA polymerase have bound to the promoter region, it cannot slide along the length so that there will be no transcription. Okay, the repressor have bound, even though the RNA polymerase comes and bind to the promoter region, as you can see, it cannot go further so that there will be no transcription of the gene. Now the regulatory proteins, also known as the transacting proteins, these are specific factor, repressor, activator, certain types of proteins which are encoded by the gene, which can be present anywhere within the genome, and that protein comes and regulate the transcription of other proteins. They can be repressor or the activator. Specific factor, it facilitates the binding of RNA polymerase to a particular DNA sequence. That means it facilitates the binding of RNA polymerase to the consensus sequence. They are the specific factor, and the repressor, as I have already seen, it binds to the operator and prevent the transcription known as the negative regulation. And also activator, it associates with DNA near the initiation point, resulting in the increase of RNA polymerase binding affinity and enhancement of transcription efficiency. That means this is a repressor and specific it is the binding of polymerase to a particular DNA sequence, and these are the activators. Next can be we talked about the special sequences and we also talked about the regulatory proteins. Now third case is DNA protein interactions. The regulation is implemented through numerous interactions between cis-acting elements and transacting factors. These cis-acting elements were actually the sequences on the DNA itself. However, these transacting are the proteins which are produced by the genes, which may be present anywhere within, and they are bounded with the non-covalent bond. This is about the DNA protein interactions. These cis-acting elements are the sequences of the DNA. However, these transacting factors, they are the proteins which are encoded by the genes, which may be present anywhere along the genome. Next, protein-protein interaction. Proteins may have to interact with each other prior to DNA binding. Proteins can form a heterodimer to function properly. Not only there is interaction between DNA and protein, but also there are protein-protein interaction to facilitate the binding. We have seen in transcription and translation also there is several protein-protein interactions in the formation of initiation complex sets. Now we see the gene regulation of prokaryotic system. This was just the background. Now we'll see with the specific examples. Sorry. Gene regulation of prokaryotic system. Common features is prokaryotic genes are polycystonic. That is, several relevant genes are organized together to form a transcription unit, and this is known as operon. Prokaryotic genes are polycystonic. Polycystonic, that means several relevant genes are organized together to form a transcription unit, and this transcription unit is known as operon. It does not mean that polycystonic means all the proteins should be found by the same mRNA. This is not the case, but from one mRNA, at least several proteins should be formed. Prokaryotic genes are polycystonic, that is, several relevant genes are organized together to form a transcription unit, and this transcription unit is known as operon. The majority of the gene regulation is negative, that is, inducers are used with the repressor. This is regular transcription is the coordinate regulation, and transcription initiation is the key point for regulation. However, at other points also this can be regulated. Whereas the initiation point is the most important one for the regulation. And well-studied example of gene regulation is lactose operon of E. coli. Lactose operon of E. coli, and popularly known as lac operon. Well-studied example of gene regulation is lactose operon of E. coli, and popularly known as lac operon, or the lac operon concept. We know that operon, clearly written here, operon, several relevant genes are organized together to form a transcription unit, and this is known as operon. Several relevant genes are organized together to form a transcription unit, which is known as operon. Well studied of gene regulation is lactose operon of E. coli, known as lac operon or the lac operon concept. Lac operon codes for 3 proteins involved in the catabolism of lactose. Operon is the coordinated unit of gene expression. That means several relevant genes are placed together and controlled by the same sequences, and these are known as the operon. And we are talking about the operon which codes for the protein responsible for lactose metabolism. This is known as lac operon, and this lac operon codes for 3 proteins involved in the catabolism of lactose. Let's see the positional relationship of the structural and regulatory genes of the lac operon. Okay, and this is the lac operon. Operon is the related genes which are regulated at once. Now this is the operator side. This is the promoter side. We have talked about the 3 proteins produced: one by LAC-Z gene, other by LAC-Y, and other by LAC-A gene. We are talking about the lac operon. We are talking about lac operon. Well-studied example of gene regulation, lactose operon or lac operon. This was studied in E. coli, and this lac operon codes for 3 proteins involved in the catabolism of lactose, and the genes that code for 3 proteins are regulated at once. This is the coordinate unit of genetic expression known as the operon. This consists of 3 genes: LAC-Z, LAC-Y, and LAC-A. These LAC-Z genes, as you can see here, encodes for beta-galactosidase. LAC-Y gene codes for formase, and LAC-A code galactosidase transacetylase, which are the components of the lac operon. And there is other gene which codes for LAC-I, that is inhibitor protein or the repressor protein. LAC-I encodes operon repressor protein. This is called the repressor protein. The responsible well-studied example of gene regulation in case of E. coli. That's why this is known as lac operon concept. Okay, this is the structural gene. That different structural gene would give rise to 3 enzymes. As you can see, the Z gene keep the beta-galactosidase, which will break down lactose into glucose and galactose, beta-galactosidase. And next one is the formase, which allows the lactose to enter into the cells. And next one is transacetylase, which function can be in detoxification, but most not clearly explained one. But these 2 functions of beta-galactosidase and formase are well explained. And this is the regulatory side. As you can see the operator here, promoter. Next one is the cap binding site. and after is the regulatory gene. This cap binding site is catabolite gene activated protein binding site. There is a protein called catabolite gene activator protein, and it comes and bind to this. That's why this the name is cap binding site. About the operator and promoter, we have discussed many times. Operator where the repressor will bind, promoter where the RNA polymerase will bind. This cap binding site, catabolite gene activator protein will bind here, and next one is the regulatory gene which codes for the repressor molecule. Cap binding site, cyclic AMP receptor protein or CRP. The protein is sometimes called cap for catabolite gene activator protein. That's why catabolite gene activator protein from that cap binding site. Now let's see the metabolism of lactose. First of all, they have to make the entry into the cells with the help of polymerase, that is polymerase, simply polymerase, because here we are talking about lactose. This with the help of this polymerase, it gets into the cells, and after it gets into the cells, now this has to be degraded. That means it has to be hydrolyzed. This is hydrolyzed to form glucose and galactose, and this is the hydrolysis. But in the next thing is they can lactose can isomerize to form allolactose also. This allolactose, this is having the bond in this position. Now let's see, this bond is shifted to this position. This isomerization can also form from lactose. Allolactose can also be formed. Once lactose enters the cells, allolactose can also be formed, or it can be hydrolyzed into glucose and galactose. This is about the metabolism of lactose. Inducible expression. Bacteria do not express these three enzymes when glucose is available. We are talking about the lactose metabolism, and bacteria do not express these three enzymes. These three enzymes means which enzymes involved in lactose metabolism when glucose is available. However, bacteria produce those enzymes if lactose is present and glucose is absent. Whenever they do not get glucose, now they have to use the other source. That is, they use the lactose. Bacteria do not express these three enzymes when glucose is available. However, bacteria produce those enzymes if lactose is present and glucose is absent. And next important thing you have to remember is glucose inhibits the formation of cyclic AMP. That means if there is a high concentration of glucose, there will be low concentration of cyclic AMP. When glucose is present, cyclic AMP is lower. Only after glucose is exhausted or used up, cyclic AMP becomes higher. The cap cyclic AMP complex is formed, and this complex binds to cap binding site on the lactose. Catabolite gene activated protein and cyclic AMP complex is formed, and this complex bind to cap binding site on the lac operon to induce the operon, to induce the lac operon. So we can better understand this lac operon by different situations, by dividing the lactose metabolism phase in different situation. One, when lactose is absent. Now let's see what when lactose is absent. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is the lac operon which we have seen. This is the mRNA for the inhibitor. That inhibitor or the repressor will bind to the operator site. This bind to, in the absence of lactose, what happens is this inhibitor lacigene will give its product. From this mRNA will be produced, and from mRNA protein will be produced, and that is actually I stands for inhibition, and this codes for the repressor protein. This repressor protein would come and bind to the operator site. When it comes and bind to the operator site, what happens? Even though the RNA polymerase is there and comes and bind with the promoter site, now it cannot slide along, so that there will be no expression of lacgene. That means these three enzymes will not be expressed. These three genes, there will be no transcription of these three genes when lactose is absent. Lacigene has its own promoter and its expression can produce a repressor. We have seen the tetrameric lac repressor binds to the lac operator side. We have seen the binding blocks that RNA polymerase moving on DNA template, and no lac Z, Y, and A are expressed. This we have well seen with the help of picture. Now situation to when lactose is present. Let's see what happens. Earlier was when the lactose was absent, but now let's see when lactose is present. What happens when lactose is present? This is the same lac operon gene. This is the inhibitor producing its repressor protein here also. But when lactose is present, what happens? There is a lactose, and this lactose, after entering the cell, will be isomerized to allolactose, and this allolactose will bind to that repressor. And when this allolactose bind to this repressor, that means repressor molecule will be now inactivated, and it cannot bind to later site. This is the situation. Second, let's see. Okay. So on the situation one, when lactose is absent, what happens? This inhibitor substance protein that is always present, and that will be produced and bind to the opposite site. So RNA polymerase cannot move along. This is situation one when lactose is absent. Now let's go to situation two when lactose is present. Lactose is present also. This repressor will produce the repressor protein, and this repressor protein, now when the lactose is present, what will happen? Some amount of lactose will be converted to allolactose, and this allolactose will bind to the repressor and inactivate the repressor. Sorry, when it inactivates the repressor, now it cannot bind to the operator site, and when it does not bind to the operator site, what happens? The RNA polymerase can move along, thus giving the products of lac Z, lac this when lactose is absent, operon is inhibited. When lactose is present, this lac operon is activated or expressed. Now let's see the other situation also. Okay, before we have to explain, when lactose is present, it is converted to allolactose or galactose that binds to the repressor. The repressor can no longer bind to the operator, and lac gene can be expressed. Okay, not only galactose and allolactose, but also there are some other molecules which can act as inducers. That means they inactivate the repressor. Galactose, allolactose, and isopropyl thiogalactoside are referred to as inducers. These are the structures of allolactose and isopropyl thiogalactoside. An important note is several galactoside structurally related to allolactose are inducers of the lack of operon, but what is interesting is that they are not, they can stimulate, but they are not the source of galactosidase. And whereas others are substitute but not effective and non-metabolizable inducer of lac operon is often used experimentally, that is isopropyl thiogalactosidase. That means this is the inducer, but this is not the substitute. As this is the inducer, it can induce the production of these three enzymes. And if we are if we are to study the metabolism, we can incorporate a different radioactive labeled lactose and provide to that to the E. coli, and how it metabolizes that lactose. One powerfully effective and non-metabolizable inducer of lac operon oftenly used is isopropyl thiogalactoside, which we have seen the structure also. Now situation third, when glucose and lactose both are present. Condition one we see when lactose is absent. Other condition we saw when lactose is absent in first case, and in second case when present. We saw both the conditions. Now let's see what happens when glucose and lactose both are present. When glucose is present, the cyclic AMP is low. No cap cyclic AMP is formed, and the expression of lac operon. When glucose is also present, what happens? When glucose is present, cyclic AMP low. And when cyclic AMP is low, there cannot be the complex formation, that is cyclic AMP and cap complex cannot be form and that cannot come and bind here. And that's why in this condition also lac operon will not be activated. Okay, let's see when glucose and lactose both are present, what happens when glucose is present? There would be low concentration of cyclic AMP, and if there is low concentration of cyclic AMP, this cap cyclic AMP complex cannot be formed, and this cap cyclic AMP complex, if not formed, it cannot activate this RNA polymerase. So in this condition also there will be no expression of the lac gene. Okay, a regulator mechanism known as catabolite repressor restricts expression of the genes required for catabolism of lactose, arabinose, and other sugars in the presence of glucose, even when the secondary sugars are also present. The effect of glucose is mediated by cyclic AMP as a co-activator and an activator protein known as cyclic AMP receptor protein or CRP, and sometimes called the catabolite gene activator protein, and this forms a complex and bind there. And when glucose is still there, cyclic AMP will be low and their complex cannot be formed, so the lac operon is still inactive. Now situation number 4, when glucose is absent in and lactose is present. When glucose is absent and lactose is present, what can happen? When glucose is absent, the CAM cyclic AMP complex can bind to cap site and activate the lac gene. When glucose is absent means this cyclic AMP will be high, and when this cyclic AMP will be high, it can form a complex with catabolite gene activated protein, and so that can come and bind here, and so in this condition it is active. That means it can transcribe the 3 products. When glucose when glucose is absent, cap cyclic AMP binds to a site near the lac promoter and stimulates RNA transcription many folds, 50 folds. Cap cyclic AMP is therefore a positive regulatory element responsive to glucose levels, whereas the lac repressor is a negative regulatory element responsive to lactose. This much we have seen about the lac operon. One and two. See one by one, only the situation 1 or 2 and everything you will understand. This much is about the lac operon concept. Lac operon is a coordinated unit of gene expression, and this has been well studied in lactose proteins in the lactose metabolism known as the lac of structural genes, lac Z, lac Y, and lac. These 3 produce 3 different consist of the operator site, promoter site, is the gene to is absent. What happened? Okay, let's see only the picture I'll show you. When lactose is absent, this repressor protein will bind to the operator site so that the RNA polymerase cannot move along, so that no gene is expressed. Now second, when lactose is present, what happens? When lactose is present, it forms allolactose, and that allolactose inactivates the repressor so that RNA polymerase can move along. And when RNA polymerase can move along means there will be the expression of lac Z, Y, and A genes. This is situation 2. Situation 1, when lactose is absent. Situation 2, when lactose is present. Now we are also talking along with the glucose. Situation 3, when glucose and lactose both are present. When glucose and lactose both are present, when glucose is present, AMP level, actually the role of cyclic AMP was there in the first and second case also, but we did not show that in the picture because this was not of importance to draw time and again. But this cap protein was playing in first and also because we are not talking about the glucose, and glucose was low. In both of the cases, it was activated in first and second case. Now here, when glucose and lactose both are present, if glucose is present in a higher concentration, what will happen? Cyclic AMP would be low, and when cyclic AMP is below, this cyclic AMP and cap binding complex cannot form. And if this cannot form means this cannot activate this, and there will expression of this. Number 4, when glucose is absent, of course, when glucose is absent, cyclic AMP levels will be high, and this cyclic AMP camp lactose is present. This catabolites in inhibitor protein and cyclic AMP complex bind to the cap site, and when it binds to the cap site, then it will be activated, and these genes are expressed. This is about the lac operant concept and the regulation of gene expression in prokaryotes, with example to lac operant. And in our next class, we'll see how genes are regulated in eukaryotic case. All the examples we cannot see. Like today also in the case of prokaryotic, one example we have seen, that is the lac operant. If you are interested, you can also read about the tryptophan operant in prokaryotes. But most important is the lac operant. Okay, and this much for today. If you have any queries, you can just unmute your mic and ask.
Sir, can you please explain the metabolism of the lactose again?
Okay. Now here actually we are focusing how the genes are regulated, and this how the genes are regulated. We are talking in prokaryotic case, and with the example of lac operon, and this operon is the coordinated unit of genetic expression. That means here 3 different enzymes which are involved in the metabolism of lactose are expressed by 3 different genes: LAC-Z, LAC-Y, and LAC-A. LAC-Z would give beta galactosidase that will break down lactose into glucose and galactose. And next one, the formase, which will formate of the third gene product is actually not clearly understood. About the detail about the metabolism of we are talking metabolism of lactose. Of course, here lactose is degraded into glucose and galactose, but regarding the metabolism, these are converted into monosaccharides, no more metabolism. But we are talking here about the regulation of gene expression, how genes are regulated. So we are taking examples of the 3 different enzymes, and 3 different enzymes. The expression of 3 different enzymes are controlled by as they are what to say, as they are arranged as the operon, and in some condition you saw they are activated, and in other conditions they are inactivated. When they are activated, their product will be found, and where they are inactivated, their products will not be found. You just told about the lactose metabolism. Here, the lactose metabolism is lactose converted to glucose and galactose. But in which condition it can be converted, and in which condition it cannot be converted, we have seen with special reference to the gene regulation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's not about the metabolism much, but about the genetic expression and regulation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other? If you have any queries, just unmute your mic and